Spontaneous speaking video 82. Alright, what's up everyone? This is going to be a quick video, seriously this time. I have work in about half an hour, but I'm being proactive, I'm actually here, you know. Sorry for the music that you'll probably be hearing in the background. But today what I wanted to talk about was actually taking lead in interpersonal dynamics. So there's a trend on my channel that you guys have probably already noticed. There's a trend of, I'm not really for us victimizing ourselves. I don't really stand for people like, continuously allowing themselves to be in a victim position. As a life coach, personal development coach, I focus on how can we get out of that victim position. How can we get out of that victim mindset? Because a lot of times it is a mindset. Not saying that we are never victims, but we can always overcome our victimization. So that whole woe is me, like I have a video on that, like that whole woe is me mindset, I'm not really for it. Yeah, I'm not really for that whole woe is me mindset. And then at the same time, I don't really encourage, I guess blaming other people. So once again, I want to clarify that I'm not saying that people are never to be blamed, but I think a lot of times, because we can't control people, we should learn to control ourselves, and we should learn to understand how, in controlling ourselves and embodying what we want other people to be in a way, then we can, in a fashion, allow them to see how that should be played out. So in other news, I guess like a lot of people, or I guess to make it more simple, a lot of people, they tend to once again make themselves victims in interpersonal dynamics. They will see themselves as, this person never supports me, or this person never does this, or this person never does that. And they seem to blame the other party or other people for a lot of problems, that they may be having within that relationship. Even in, romantic relationships. And I believe that, once again, I just want to make it clear, although there are plenty of times when it really is that person's fault, when it is other people's fault, I think that it's always at least best to know that you're doing your best to keep that from happening. Because believe it or not, our way of behaving, our way of interacting with other people, it changes people, love changes people, and that can it depending on how depending on how the person is, the way that we change the person, or how much we may help change that person, it may be minimal, may be large. But the best thing to always do is to make sure that you're being represented as the best possible way that you possibly could be. So I have some questions, or some examples, just to bring this more grounded. So some things that we could be asking ourselves so that we can set better examples or be the bigger person in relationships is, okay, this person's not really a good friend. Well, HSP problems. This person's not really a good friend. Well, how about you start asking yourself, how can I be a better friend to this person? Or ask the person first, hey, how can I be a better friend to you? You know what I mean? Because maybe from their perspective, you're also not being a good friend for whatever reason. You might not even see how you're not being a good friend, how they're not being a good friend to you. How you're not being a good friend to them. In the same sense, you can ask the person, how can I support your craft more? If you're noticing that a person's not really supporting you as much in your craft, in your passion, do you support this person in their passion? You probably do. And if you are, then that means that you're doing a great job in already embodying what you want other people and how other people to treat you. And the person who's not giving that energy back to you, it's unfortunate, but that's just how they are. And that's another step. Like that, from that point, that's where you have to now decide whether this is something that you can deal with, this is something that you can address the person on directly, or if you're just gonna have to get out of that dynamic altogether. That all depends on what you think. But I believe that the first step, at least, is once again taking lead in that dynamic, in setting the example for that person. So how can I support your craft more? How can I improve our overall dynamic? Asking your partner, asking your student, asking whoever you might feel like is not probably giving enough back to you, and even those you probably do feel like that they're giving back to you. I like to ask them, like, hey, how can I be better for you? How can I be a better friend to you? How can I support your craft more? How can I support your passions more? How can I just overall, like, throw better firewood into our fire of our relationship? You know what I mean? How can I improve our overall dynamic? That's what it all comes down to. And once you take lead, once you, in a way, be that bigger person in setting that example, then oftentimes, whether it's by courtesy or whether it's by genuine necessity, they might be like, hey, how can I support your craft more? How can I do that? Now, of course, I'm not saying that we should do this with the exact, like, ulterior motive. Like, once again, like, don't just do this when you're noticing that somebody's not supporting you back. But you can allow somebody who's not supporting you back to be that spring. Like, I made a video once again on using other people as mirrors. Like, when you see other people and you actually, admire something about them, then you start to wonder, like, hey, how can I bring this into myself? And when you see other people and you find something that, might be repulsive to you, then you can be like, hey, do I have this within myself? So I believe that if we start to do this a lot, and we start to, like, take lead in those interpersonal dynamics, and we start really trying to be the best version of ourselves and the best friends that we can be to other people, then who knows what'll come from that. So yeah, that's kind of like my little short lesson for today that I've been thinking about, and I want y'all's thoughts on it. So leave me comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, whatever you think, and let's make this a discussion. Hopefully this is something that you watch and you keep in mind as you go into your interpersonal dynamics, as you go into talking to your family, you go into talking to your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be. Set that example for the person. It's not always easy. You do have to put your ego aside. You do have to be less prideful, but then once you do that, it rewards very heavily. So yeah, let me know what you think, and done.